The shuttle's hull whispered as it slid into Ito's Prime's docking arms, its metallic skin glowing under the station's twin-star glare. The landing bay smelled faintly of ozone and sterilized air, too clean, too engineered, like a world scrubbed of risk. Rhea Salas stepped out as if she were walking into a museum. Around her, alien cadets paused mid-conversation, their exosuits and shimmering skin catching the blue-white light. "That's her," a crystalline-voiced Avrian muttered. "The Deathworld girl." Rhea pretended not to hear. She kept her gait measured, shoulders relaxed, eyes steady. She had learned long ago that calm was louder than anger. Calm made them wonder. A Grusk cadet, hunched under his heavy carapace, whispered, "Why is she so small?" Another replied, "Why is she smiling?" She wasn't. Not exactly. Her expression held the faint curve of someone who saw more than she said. It unnerved them, and that was enough. Two Academy officials approached, one tall and angular with translucent skin, the other a spined reptilian wearing a uniform lined with military symbols. The reptilian stepped forward. "Cadet Rhea Salas," he announced, voice gravelly. "Welcome to Ito's Prime Interstellar Academy. I am Instructor Vorthan Kress." His eyes scanned her like a weapon. Rhea felt the pressure of it but didn't blink. "Thank you, Instructor," she said. He tilted his head. "We expect discipline here. Order. Precision. Not improvisational brutality." His gaze flicked to her medical file, projected in light beside him. "Your species has a reputation." Rhea kept her voice gentle. Reputations often reflect misunderstandings. A few cadets snickered at that. Vorthan didn't. "Follow," he said. The Academy's interior was a cathedral of glass and engineered gravity. Floors flowed like polished obsidian. Holographic diagrams floated in air like drifting constellations. Alien cadets practiced forms, studied maps, discussed treaties. None carried weapons. None looked prepared for violence. Rhea walked through it quietly, absorbing everything: the ventilation hum, the mineral scent of ion filters, the soft click of alien claws on the floor. Under her breath, she murmured, "This place is very delicate." A Lurian cadet, pale and long-limbed, overheard. "Delicate? Human humor?" "No," she replied. "Observation." His pupils narrowed. He found no sarcasm in her tone, and that bothered him even more. Vorthan led her into the gravity assessment chamber. Its walls shimmered like heat haze. A group of alien trainees stood inside, waiting, expressions bright with anticipation. "This is our introductory test," Vorthan said. "A baseline evaluation." The gravity level flashed on the screen, 0.3 G. Aliens straightened as if entering a comfort zone. Rhea felt her stomach float slightly, the world turning weightless, almost playful. It reminded her of childhood training, deep cave jumps, drop rig simulations, the sudden absence of force that made humans laugh. Vorthan observed her reaction, expecting discomfort. He saw none. "Begin," he ordered. The cadets moved first, fast, smooth, elegant. Their bodies were made for low gravity. Rhea watched their footwork, how their limbs stretched into arcs, how their balance shifted with almost no effort. Then she stepped forward. And instantly corrected for Earth physics. Her knees bent farther. Her center of gravity dropped lower. Her boots met the floor in controlled, grounded contact. Every step absorbed the unfamiliar lightness with deliberate precision. She didn't float. She didn't drift. She moved like someone carrying invisible weight. A hush fell over the chamber. "She's adapting," whispered a blue-skinned Sarunian. "Humans don't adapt that fast," another argued. Rhea almost smiled again. Vorthan's jaw tightened. "You memorized alien movement patterns?" "No," she said. "I adjusted." More whispers. More confusion. The tension in the room sharpened. Rhea finished the course without a stumble. The cadets finished with a growing edge of discomfort. After the test, a group approached her with curious smiles stretched a bit too wide. Rhea recognized that type, the ones who mocked because they were afraid to be the first to understand. A horned Draxel cadet stepped forward, holding a small cylindrical device. Human. Want to try something? Rhea met his gaze. If it's safe. He laughed. Oh, it's only a prank. Another chimed in, we want to see if you Deathworlders react to kinetic stings. They activated the baton. Blue arcs crackled along its length. A weapon disguised as a toy. Rhea didn't retreat. She simply watched, steady as stone. Relax, the Draxel said, stepping closer. It barely hurts. She answered softly, then why are your hands shaking? They froze. The baton wavered. For the first time, uncertainty crossed their faces. Rhea didn't move. Didn't lift a hand. Didn't prepare to strike. She only exhaled. A pulse of light, soft, silent, almost gentle, bloomed around her like a breath of warm air. When it faded, the three cadets were gone. Their baton clattered to the floor, the metallic echo rolling through the chamber. The remaining students stared at the empty space where their classmates had stood a heartbeat earlier. What happened? Someone whispered. Rhea looked down at the fallen baton, then at the group. Her voice remained calm. I warned them. One alien swallowed hard. You didn't warn them. Not aloud, she thought. Vorthan arrived moments later, fury radiating off him. What did you do? He demanded. Rhea met his glare without flinching. I didn't touch them. 3 students are missing. I noticed, she said quietly. He stepped closer until his shadow swallowed her boots. You will explain what just happened. Her heartbeat didn't rise. Her breathing stayed even. I survived, she replied. That's all. Vorthan's claws flexed. You executed them. No, she said. If I executed them, we wouldn't be having this conversation. His eyes narrowed. She added, voice low, you're making the same mistake they did. And what mistake is that? Rhea held his gaze. Assuming you understand humans. He escorted her out with rigid silence. Cadets parted like water around her. Some stared with wide, terrified eyes. Others refused to meet her gaze at all. Rhea kept walking, posture steady, steps smooth, expression unreadable. 3 aliens had vanished. And she hadn't even raised a hand. As the door sealed behind her in the evaluation hall, she looked at her own reflection in the polished surface, her face calm, her eyes steady, the faintest trace of that unsettling smile resting at the edge of her lips. Delicate place, she whispered. Her whisper wasn't mocking. It was a warning the Academy didn't yet understand. But they would. Soon. The disappearance of 3 cadets rippled through Ito's Prime like a quiet shockwave. No alarms blared, no lockdown protocols screamed through the halls. Instead, the Academy reacted with something far more revealing, silence. Conversations cut short when Rhea walked past. Holographic displays that once shimmered with tactical diagrams now flickered with error messages. Even the air seemed thinner, as if the station itself was holding its breath. Rhea continued her routine as if nothing unusual had happened. She attended lectures, studied navigation charts, ran simulations. Her calm became the center of the storm. The cadets whispered about her in corridors, trying to avoid her gaze yet unable to stop looking. During lunch, a slender Avrian sat across from her, wings tucked tight with nervous restraint. Is it true? He asked, voice barely above a whisper. Rhea glanced at him. Which part? That you smiled before they vanished. She didn't answer. She let the question hang between them. The Avrian swallowed and stood abruptly, wings quivering. Never mind, he muttered, leaving his tray behind as he hurried off. Rhea took another bite of her food. Instructor Vorthan summoned her that afternoon. She entered the interrogation chamber, sterile walls, a single table, 2 chairs, reminding her of a hospital room without the warmth. Vorthen stood with arms folded, expression carved from stone. He gestured to the chair. Sit. Rhea sat. A holographic screen flickered to life behind him. Static. Garbled fragments. Flickers of distorted images. Surveillance footage of the gravity chamber. This is all we recovered, Vorthen said. The moment they confronted you. He tapped the console. The footage froze on one clear frame. Rhea standing still. The cadets closing in. Her expression composed, unreadable. A faint curve at the edge of her lips. A smile, Vorthen said. Explain it. I don't need to, she replied. You do. His voice sharpened. Because 3 trainees are missing, and the last recorded moment shows you smiling at them. Rhea studied him. You're asking the wrong question. And what is the right one? Her tone remained even. Why did they think they could attack me? Vorthen bristled. They were testing you. No, she said. They were mocking me. Mockery is not justification for. For what? Rhea asked softly. For surviving? His jaw tightened. Humans do not simply watch their attackers vanish. Many things disappear in the universe, she murmured. Stars. Empires. People who miscalculate. Vorthen leaned closer. You're dodging. I'm being accurate. He inhaled sharply, then stepped away from the table, pacing with rigid precision. I reviewed your physiology report. Your species' neural structure is unpredictable. Reflexes far beyond most galactic norms. Pain thresholds that border on pathological. Rhea tilted her head. Is that a compliment? No, he stopped pacing and stared at her. It's concern. For me or your academy, she asked. He didn't answer. Rhea leaned forward slightly. Instructor, if I were a danger, this room wouldn't contain me. The temperature seemed to drop. Vorthen's spined crest twitched. He dismissed her with a clipped gesture. You will report to the training hall tonight. There will be a controlled drill. I expect cooperation. Rhea stood. I always cooperate. His eyes narrowed. That is what worries me. The training hall rang with metallic echoes when she arrived. A dozen cadets waited, arranged in a semicircle, their expressions mixed, some frightened, some angry, all tense. Vorthen stood on the raised platform, hands behind his back. This will be a group assessment, he announced. Coordination. Strategy. Precision. The human cadet will be the focal point. Rhea stepped into the center of the hall, boots brushing faint dust. The room's lights dimmed to a crisp white. The air thrummed with energy as drones activated overhead, drifting like metallic insects. Vorthen gave one order. Begin. The cadets rushed her. The first moved with practiced speed, leaping with an elongated blade arm meant to intimidate rather than harm. The second sprinted low, trying to sweep her legs. The third charged from the side with a shock staff humming blue. Rhea didn't strike. She didn't evade with frantic motion. She simply shifted her weight, letting their momentum pull them off course. The blade arm cadet stumbled past her. The leg sweeper skidded on the polished floor. The shock staff froze inches from her ribs. She looked at the cadet holding it. Don't, she said. He hesitated. His grip loosened. The others didn't. For more surged in from behind. Drones whirled overhead, beams sweeping the floor in erratic patterns. The air thickened with motion, shouts, footsteps. Rhea exhaled once. Then the world blinked. A second soft flash, brighter than the first but just as silent, rolled outward from where she stood. It rippled through the hall like a wave through still water, bending shadows and scattering the drone's sensor lines. When the light faded, the hall fell quiet. Half the cadets were gone. Their weapons lay scattered across the floor. The drones hovered uncertainly, recalculating targets they couldn't locate. The remaining students backed away, trembling. Rhea turned to Vorthan. I warned them too. His voice was hoarse. You did nothing of the sort. Her expression didn't change. I offered them a chance to stop. You offered them a word, he snapped. And they chose to ignore it, she said. Vorthan descended the platform. His steps were too controlled, as if each one was an anchor to keep him from slipping into fear. What are you? He asked. Rhea considered the question. Human. That is not an answer. It's the only accurate one you're prepared for. His crest flared. You expect me to believe these disappearances are natural human responses? No, she replied. I expect you to understand they weren't attacks. The hall pulsed with tension. Explain the light, Vorthan demanded. Rhea shook her head. I can't. Won't, he corrected. Both, she said. He drew a slow breath. Your presence here was supposed to integrate humans into interstellar diplomacy. Instead, you're turning this academy into a quarantine zone. Rhea met his gaze without blinking. Maybe you should ask why your cadets keep trying to harm me. They were ordered to test you. They were ordered to prove something about me, she corrected. There's a difference. Vorthan's jaw clenched. You think yourself above this academy? No, she stepped closer. I think I'm finally seeing the truth of it. And what truth is that? That you fear humans, she said quietly. But you hide it behind arrogance. The room exhaled as if it understood before Vorthan did. Then he gave the order that changed everything. Escort her to Tactical Wing 7, he said to the guards. We're done with surface-level drills. Rhea offered a faint smile, small, steady, unsettling. Be careful with the next test, she said. Your cadets are thinning fast. Vorthan said nothing. But his eyes revealed the truth. He no longer believed humans were myths. He believed they were warnings. Tactical Wing 7 lay deep inside Eidos Prime, far from public corridors and cadet chatter. Its doors were heavier, its lights colder, its silence more deliberate. Rhea stepped through the final security barrier, noting the sudden shift in gravity. The air pressed harder against her shoulders, the floor's stability thickening like a hidden weight. Vorthan waited in the observation booth above the arena, arms clasped behind his back, face taut with calculation. Cadet Salas, his voice came over the intercom, this assessment is classified. You will not speak of it. Rhea looked up at him. I rarely speak when unnecessary. The lights intensified, revealing the chamber's architecture, ringed platforms, drone ports, brutalist metal walls. Every surface looked engineered for containment. Every inch felt designed to suppress. A tone sounded. Gravity surged. Rhea inhaled sharply, adjusting her stance as the force multiplied. Her spine straightened under the pressure, her muscles groaned in protest. The display read 2.7 G, enough to pin most species to the floor. Vorthan watched her closely. We begin with a simple question. Can you remain standing? Rhea rolled her shoulders, distributing the weight through her legs. Yes. He tapped a console. Not for long. Panels slid open in the walls. Shock troopers emerged, 8 armored figures wielding pulse rifles calibrated for subduing hostile creatures. Their visors glowed faint violet, their steps synchronized and precise. This time, Vorthan said, you will not rely on tricks. Rhea raised an eyebrow. Tricks? You know exactly what I mean. No unexplained flashes. No unexplained vanishing. Just your physical limits. I've never been limited, she said. The troopers encircled her. Begin, Vorthan ordered. The first trooper lunged, rifle angled toward her sternum. Rhea pivoted her shoulders, letting the blow glance past her. The second swung at her legs, she stepped into the strike, reducing impact. The third fired a stun burst. She ducked, the beam slicing the air above her head. Each move cost effort in heavy gravity. Her muscles strained, lungs working harder to pull in air. But her mind stayed clear. The troopers advanced in coordinated formation, something no previous group had shown. Their discipline impressed her. Their intent didn't. Vorthen's voice echoed, "No phasing, Cadet Solace. I want to see what your species truly is without whatever anomaly you're hiding." Rhea didn't answer. She stayed focused on the circle tightening around her. A trooper aimed at her ribs again. Rhea seized his wrist, twisted, and redirected him into another. Their armored bodies collided with a sharp crack. She didn't follow through, she released them instantly, stepping back, conserving oxygen. "Human endurance is remarkable," Vorthen muttered into the mic, "but it won't be enough." He activated the next phase. Drones dropped from the ceiling like metallic seeds, spreading out with predatory hums. Their beams traced shimmering lines across the floor, mapping trajectories, searching for weakness. A thin sheen of sweat touched Rhea's brow. Not fear, heat from pushing under crushing gravity. A drone fired a burst that scorched the floor by her boot. Another discharged a concussive shockwave that made her ears ring. She staggered for the first time. Vorthen leaned forward. "There. The limit." Rhea steadied her breath. "You're testing the wrong limit." "And what limit is the right one?" he asked. Rhea didn't reply. She didn't have breath to waste. Another barrage came, 3 bursts, 2 swings, 1 attempt to tackle her. She moved through them, but slower now, each adjustment calculated second by second. Her knees dipped. Her vision trembled. The troopers closed in. One raised his rifle to deliver a final blast. Rhea looked up at Vorthen. Her voice came out low, strained, but steady. "Are you sure you want to see it?" "See what?" he demanded. "What humans do when we run out of options." Vorthen didn't respond. He looked curious, fatally so. The trooper fired. Rhea didn't dodge. Instead, she let her body take the hit, let the pain spike, let her biology scream danger into her nervous system. Her heart rate surged. Her vision sharpened. Something ancient stirred inside her instincts, a mechanism buried deep inside the survival pathways evolution had carved over millennia of predators, storms, radiation, and war. The air warped. Not with light. Not with energy. With displacement. A ripple spread outward from Rhea's pulse. The drones froze midair. The troopers staggered backward. The gravity seemed to stutter, as if confused by what her body had triggered. The ripple expanded, silent, soft, almost musical in the way it bent the space around her. And then it snapped. Vorthen slammed his hands on the console. "No, stop this. Stop." But the command arrived too late. The ripple washed across the arena like a tide. When the distortion cleared, the troopers were gone. The drones hovered aimlessly, sensors blank. Only scorch marks and equipment remained. Rhea stood alone in the center, breath steadying, heart slowing to calm. The observation booth lights trembled. Vorthen stared down at her, horror hollowing his expression. "What did you?" Rhea looked up. "I warned you." "That wasn't teleportation," he murmured, stepping back from the glass. "It wasn't a weapon. It wasn't anything we understand." Rhea's voice was soft. "Because you built your models around peace." He shook his head. "Humans aren't supposed to, this isn't. This is evolution," Rhea said. "My ancestors survived everything your species would consider extinction-level events. We adapted faster than the universe tried to kill us." "You phased them out of existence," Vorthen whispered. "No," she corrected. "I phased myself out of danger. They were caught in the displacement." Vorthen pressed his palms to his temples. "Where did they go?" Rhea didn't blink. "Somewhere safe. Or somewhere they can't hurt anyone." He stared down at her with a mixture of fear and dawning understanding. "You were never here to be trained." "No," she said. "I was here to be observed." "And now?" Rhea turned toward the exit door as it unlocked for her. "Now the observation is complete." Vorthan called after her. What happens to this academy? That depends, she said, pausing at the threshold, on whether you keep repeating the same mistakes. He swallowed. And humans? Rhea looked over her shoulder, eyes steady, voice quiet. We don't start conflicts, instructor. But we survive them. Faster than anyone else can react. The door slid open. Rhea stepped through without looking back. Outside, cadets parted in silence as she walked the corridor. Rumors had already spread, too many missing, too many unanswered questions, too many cameras showing only a calm human girl and a ripple that erased everything in its path. A young cadet, the smallest in the hall, stood frozen as she approached. His hands shook, but his voice trembled out a question anyway. Are you dangerous? Rhea stopped beside him. No, she said gently. Not unless I need to be. His eyes widened. Then what are humans? She gave him the quiet, unsettling smile that had become legend within mere days. Prepared. Then she walked on. And the galaxy began rewriting every file it had ever kept on Earth. The tremor of the arena had barely faded before Ito's Prime locked itself into quiet emergency mode. No sirens. No announcements. Just silent doors that refused to open and security nodes that pulsed with warning light. The Academy didn't want panic, it wanted control. And control, at that moment, was slipping through its fingers. Rhea walked into the command concourse with an even stride. The walls shimmered with half-loaded data screens, reports stalling mid-sentence, files abruptly encrypted, names missing from rosters. Every trace of the vanished officers had been sealed under emergency classification. Not erased. But hidden. She reached the central lift. It scanned her biometrics, pausing a second longer than usual, as if unsure whether she was cleared to move anywhere at all. Then the doors opened. The lift ascended toward the High Council deck, an area no cadet ever saw. A voice broke the silence. That level isn't for trainees. Rhea turned. A woman stood at the end of the corridor, tall, silver-eyed, wearing a diplomatic insignia instead of combat stripes. Her posture was calm, but her expression carried weight, as if she was accustomed to telling empires unwelcome truths. I'm not here as a trainee, Rhea said. The woman approached, steps measured. I know. I'm Advisor Marin Vale. I was briefed on your incidents. That's one way to describe them. Marin didn't smile. What happened in Tactical Wing 7 has the entire station in deliberation. 3 committees are arguing. 2 are panicking. And the rest are trying to write a report without implicating themselves. Rhea nodded slightly. Meaning they have no idea what to call it. They don't even know what to call you. Marin studied her face. You don't appear injured. Gravity levels were lethal for most species. I adjusted, Rhea said. That's the part they fear most. Marin gestured toward the lift. Come. The Council wants this resolved before the Dominion arrives. Vorthan's superiors? Higher, Marin said. The kind of authority that doesn't like unexplained variables. Rhea stepped into the lift. Marin followed. The Council deck resembled a floating amphitheater, white stone-like panels suspended over a vast sphere of holographic archives. The room glowed with shifting colors as data streams flowed like liquid light. Rhea felt every gaze land on her as she entered. 6 counselors sat in their elevated seats, each representing a major power. None offered a greeting. Counselor Keth, a towering insectoid, clicked his mandibles. Human, you were not summoned. I was escorted, Rhea replied. Counselor Lyris, the avian representative, leaned forward. Your presence has disrupted Academy protocols. You are involved in multiple disappearances. Explain. Rhea clasped her hands behind her back. Your cadets initiated hostile actions. I responded with instinctive survival measures. A thin ripple of muttering passed through the chamber. Survival measures, Keth repeated, voice dry. You erased trained officers. I moved out of harm's way. They moved into the displacement. Counselor Vedhar, the oldest among them, tapped his crystalline fingers against the railing. This academy was established to unify species. You have fractured it. No, Rhea said. Your assumptions fractured it. Marin shot her a warning look, but Rhea kept her posture relaxed. She wasn't provoking them. She was stating facts. Lyris ruffled her metallic blue feathers. We reviewed your planet's classification. Deathworld status is dated. We believed your species had adapted to peaceful coexistence. We did, Rhea said softly. But coexistence doesn't mean defenselessness. Vethar's eyes narrowed. Then define what happened. In technical terms. Rhea inhaled. Humans evolved rapid survival responses during continuous exposure to extreme threats, predation, environmental instability, microbial aggression. Under lethal pressure, our nervous systems can trigger neural phase displacement. Temporal distortion? Marin asked. Not time travel. Not teleportation. A microscale spatial phase shift triggered by imminent harm. Keth scraped his mandibles. An evolutionary weapon. No, Rhea corrected. A last resort. And yet, Lyris said, you triggered it repeatedly. Because your trainees repeatedly tried to harm me. A long silence followed, sharp, heavy, threaded with realization. The council wasn't just alarmed. They were embarrassed. Their elite academy had failed to comprehend the biology of a girl barely in her 20s. Vedhar leaned back. Explain the vanishings. Rhea let her gaze sweep the chamber. The displacement is not directional. Anything caught in the field is temporarily removed from local space. For how long? Keth demanded. That depends, she said. On what? On whether the person remains a threat. The chamber's hum faltered. Lyra's feathers bristled. Are you telling us these officers are alive? Yes, Rhea said. Some are safe. The mechanism repositions them into a stable pocket zone until the trigger state ends. And when does it end? Vedhar asked carefully. When I believe I'm safe. You control it? Marin asked. No, Rhea said. My body does. That unsettled them more than anything she had said so far. A power she didn't consciously direct was harder to classify, harder to control, and impossible to predict. Keth clicked sharply. This is unacceptable. You are a walking anomaly. Rhea remained composed. Humans evolve under pressure. We adapt faster than you model. That is not an anomaly. That is history. Vedhar tapped a new screen. We must locate the missing officers. If they are alive, we require coordinates. I can retrieve them, Rhea said. And the cost? Lyris asked. Minimal, Rhea answered. As long as no one tries to attack me during the process. The implication landed. Keth bristled. This is coercion. No, Rhea said. It's clarity. Marin watched her with an unreadable expression, then spoke to the council. She has cooperated every time she wasn't threatened. Her record from Earth supports this. She has no aggressive behavior patterns. Vedhar steepled his hands. Human, we need assurance. I'm giving you transparency, Rhea said. My species survived chaos by adapting instantly. That is our nature. If you want coexistence, don't trigger the instinct you're afraid of. The council fell into heavy deliberation, private murmurs, encrypted datapads, silent gestures coded for political negotiation. Rhea waited, hands behind her back, breathing steady. Finally, Vedhar addressed her. You will retrieve the displaced officers. I will. And after that, Lyris added, you will be placed under scientific review. Rhea shook her head. No. Keth's mandibles snapped. You refuse? I refuse confinement, she said. If you want study, you observe while I cooperate, not as a captive. Marin stepped forward. She's right. If she's confined, her instincts may interpret it as threat. The council stared at Rhea. She stared back. Vedhar exhaled. Then we proceed with monitored freedom. But hear this, human, should you endanger this academy again, the Dominion will intervene. Rhea didn't flinch. Then don't endanger me. After the session, Marin walked beside her through the descending lift. You handled them better than most ambassadors, she said. Rhea glanced at her. Fear makes people listen. What about you? Marin asked. Are you afraid? A little, Rhea admitted. Not of them. Of myself. Marin absorbed that quietly. Then let's make sure no one pushes you to a point where you find out why. Rhea nodded. Because deep inside, beneath composure and calm breathing, she sensed something else, something the council hadn't asked about, something Vorthan had glimpsed in the arena. Her instinct wasn't done evolving. And the galaxy wasn't ready for that.